then we know why that happened.
Get a lead, thanks.
Hearing on our nation's security is underway right now on Capitol Hill, looking into the administration's handling of that attempted bomb attack on Christmas Day, and also into the suspect, Omar Abdul-Muttalib. He's the 23-year-old Nigerian accused of trying to blow up that Northwest flight on the way to Detroit. His father, if you remember the story, a prominent banker, warned the authorities about him, but it didn't do any good. He still was able to get on that flight. Florida Congressman Tom Rooney is with us. He's a member of the House Judiciary Committee and has been in this hearing this morning. Congressman, thanks for being here. What's your #1 issue that you've presented?
Well, it's obviously safety, and then the lack of communication between the several federal agencies. That after 9/11 we were supposed to have better communication so that the dots could be easier to connect, and that just didn't happen here, and that's still, during this committee hearing, something that concerns me greatly.
And what has the reaction been so far?
Well, certainly that they're trying to improve, but one of the things that came up that you just said that really set off red flags for me was that this guy's father went in. He's a prominent guy in Yemen. He went in, he complained about his son possibly getting involved, and for some reason that reached their radar, but it didn't affect them enough to put him on some kind of heightened list. He was on a list, but it wasn't a list which would say, okay, we got to make sure that this guy doesn't get on the plane. And, you know, so there's different levels of lists, apparently, and then there's many different agencies that try to work together to make sure that the right people or the wrong people aren't getting on these flights. But there was just, again, a breakdown, just like at Fort Hood with the shooter there. There's a breakdown between the federal agencies communicating with one another to make sure that American citizens are safe.
How do you possibly, going forward, though, streamline this whole process when we're talking about thousands of names on this list?
You are. These lists are huge, but that's the whole goal of this hearing that we're having today, and that's the goal I think that the agencies want to achieve. But at the same time, you have a little bit of a disagreement, or a big disagreement, I should say, with some of us on the right versus the left when it comes to what civil liberties or Miranda or things like that should be given. You know, what are we sacrificing for the sake of security in return for making sure people have certain rights, or whether foreign citizens should have the same rights. And those are the things that I think are combating factors. But hopefully after this hearing we'll be able to continue to move forward. But there is no answer right now with regard to if a guy's father would come into an embassy like Yemen and make this complaint. That's still, according to the people that were testifying, isn't enough to raise him to the level of putting him on a no-fly list. And you know, that was alarming to me.
Yeah, that is alarming. What has improved since the 25th of December that you can reassure us that something like this would be prevented going forward?
Well, they know they made a mistake. They know they acknowledge the fact that just because the guy's name was misspelled in what's called a visa viper that embassies send out to look out for this guy, or the fact that the guy's father came in, that those dots should have been connected, and they would have had what they needed. The standard to put him on the no-fly list would have been a reasonable suspicion, as we're more familiar with it in the U.S. court system, and that's just, you know, basically the standard that they're using, that this person is a serious danger, and they do recognize that they made a mistake. They're not trying to say that they did everything that they should have, but like you said, this process has thousands of names on these lists, but there's too many lists, there's too many agencies. And one of the things that I would like to see is, as we were supposed to do with Homeland Security, really streamline the process. So it's a one-stop shop. We can say that the error happened here and it'll never happen again. And we just don't have that yet. We still have too many agencies with their fingers in this pot, and it needs to get better.
So you know who's in charge. Congressman Tom Rooney, Republican of Florida, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
New home sales.